It seems to me that California Democratic politics, especially Nancy Pelosi, who's in San Francisco, the most left-wing city in America, and a lot of the other California political leaders are so radical left that by making California go earlier, you're making the Democrats, you're rewarding any craziness as opposed to more normal or calm or middle America places like New Hampshire and Iowa, where Democrats have to try and keep it together, at least for a few weeks. Am I wrong on that?
Well, I don't think you're wrong. I'm not sure that's the dynamic, simply because I think the Democratic electorate, even in Iowa and New Hampshire, is quite left-wing. South Carolina, less so. And I think that's one of the reasons you see Biden doing better there. Not that he's moderate. He himself rejects the idea that he's moderate. But the African-American community is more conservative at the moment than the liberal elite white community, which is driving a lot of the far left-wing politics inside the Democratic Party. So ironically, perhaps, South Carolina is more conservative politically. It has an electorate on the Democratic side that's 60% African American. They essentially are now the moderate core of the early primary electorate. What's happening in California is a little muddled because, unlike Republicans who have a winner-takes-all system for most of these states, Democrats have a proportional representation system. So a candidate can lose California but still come away with a lot of delegates if they do well enough to qualify. I think they have to hit a 15% threshold. As long as you're above that, you still win a lot of delegates. So they don't have to dominate here. They just have to do well. Whereas before Ted Cruz lost every county in Indiana, before he lost every delegate race in Indiana, where they all went to Trump, they were looking at California as the battle royale that was going to happen to decide the future of the Republican nomination. That didn't have to happen in the end because Trump defeated Cruz in Indiana. But Democrats may be playing a longer game here. Right now, the front runner is no longer Joe Biden. It's not yet Elizabeth Warren. It's really in flux depending on which poll you look at. Some polls say Biden's still in the lead. Some have Warren in the lead. And Sanders is in second place in some of these polls. There's also room, I think, for Kamala Harris or another candidate to creep back in. So we are seeing a very interesting situation unfold. And I've been saying this now for a few weeks. You could see the early primary states split several different ways. Elizabeth Warren looks like she's going to surge in Iowa. There may be one or two others who do well there. New Hampshire is probably going to be a three-way race. And Bernie Sanders, who won in 2016, may win there again. South Carolina is Biden's firewall. So far, so good, although there is some movement in second place. We'll see if Warren can improve. And then Nevada, which actually goes third, I believe, for Democrats, even though it's often overlooked, is also wide open. Kamala Harris may have an opportunity to get back in there because, of course, Nevada borders California. So a lot of money and volunteers can be brought over from California to Nevada. So it's really a mess. And of course, they're all in favor of impeaching Donald Trump in one way or another, except for Tulsi Gabbard, who right now you could say she's sort of in 11th or 12th place, not a top tier candidate, but she managed to get herself back on the debate stage in October. So we are seeing her mount a little bit of a comeback. And she has said what I think many Americans believe, which is that impeachment is divisive and unnecessary. And she is also talking like a winner by saying she believes that the right way to get rid of Donald Trump is to defeat him, and she can defeat him. But the other Democratic candidates are talking, and you'll pardon the expression, like losers. They are talking like people who cannot win unless Donald Trump is impeached. That is the subliminal message, you could say, that they're indicating. They're basically voting no confidence in themselves by supporting this impeachment so close to an election.
That's an excerpt from the Ezra Levant Show, which is a show I do every day. I do a monologue, interview an interesting guest, and then I read my hate mail. But you've got to subscribe to it, which you can do at premium.rebelnews.com.